And we are live from the York Meadow Farm Commercial Kitchen. Welcome to, I'm not really sure what this is other than a live stream where I am packing Curtido. For those of you who don't know, my name is Rob Kaiser. This is the All Around Growth podcast, and a big part of this show is what I do every day here in the kitchen. And I figured, why not share some of that with you? And today we're going to take a look at Curtido. So we're going to talk a little bit about Curtido, and hopefully for those of you out there watching, you are welcome to join in with questions, comments. As you can see, I've got some peppermint tea here. It's a real casual afternoon. We are also waiting on a few friends of ours to stop by and pick up 3 cases of sauerkraut of various kinds. So they are running a little bit late, and it turns out that they will likely be part of the live stream, and you can get the full experience of what exactly is going on here on a day-to-day basis. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing that we need to do is check the pH of the sauerkraut. And again, for those who aren't aware, we use lab rat supplies, pH strips, and we seem to get excellent results with that. And I'm testing. Yeah. Okay, I've got audio, so I'm going to go ahead and mute that. So we're only operating off of one mic and experiencing little to no feedback here. I'm new to this streaming situation. I couldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for some of the help that I've received. And when I talk about help that I've received, I mean help from the individual and the institution that is assisting us with streaming through this very platform. We are utilizing StreamYard in conjunction and in partnership with Food Forest Farms. So in addition to checking out everything that we're doing here at York Meadow Farm, and we'll talk plenty about that here as we go on, I would also encourage you to check out Food Forest Farms to learn more about coffee, Squash Fest 2023, and everything that's going on there. So without their support, we wouldn't be streaming, and you know, it's a great partnership that we have together, so thank you very much. All right. Like I said, we are going to test the pH. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'll go ahead and show it in the action cam here. What happened with the airlock is that it brine bubbled through and yucked up the airlock. And you know, that's again an indicator of the airlock serving its purpose. The nasties can get out, or whatever needs to get out can get out, but nothing from the outside can get in. You know, so airlocks have their purpose. Although admittedly, we don't necessarily use an airlock on everything that we ferment. I am going to be a little bit careful with this because generally speaking, the batches of Curtido that we make are full to the brim. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes and how this flows over into the action cam here. So there's very little that we need to do here with regard to testing the pH, other than dip that strip. You know what? We'll take a look at it together. So you guys can kind of get an idea of what we see on a regular basis when we check batches of fermented foods, in this case, Curtido. So what is Curtido, you guys might ask? Well, Curtido is a Latin American ferment. Hang on one second, guys. Knock, knock. Yeah, come on in. This is funny. I just started live streaming packing sauerkraut.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Well, if it's not super weird, like
No, it's okay.
there's cameras on, and you got the live cam and the action cam and all this stuff. So actually, I'm gonna pull these off. So how are you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. You're on a mission for Maurice.
Yeah, we are.
Where are you guys taking this stuff? Is this like a drug run? You going out and distributing it, or like what's up?
I think it's literally all for them.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're definitely like both buyers.
That's hilarious. I've got one going out to a friend of mine, and I'll just hand one to you, and then how about this? I'll hand one to you, and then I'll hand one to me, and then
Yeah.
we'll go do it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering though if I'm gonna lose the connectivity to the mic here. I guess we'll find out. This is all part of the learning process. So this whole live streaming thing, like everything is new, and it sort of seemed like a weird idea to me.
Yeah.
Like who would really be interested in watching live streaming of?
Is this your first live stream?
No, I've done like a few of them now. So basically, like I'll pack the sauerkraut, and then like I'll talk about it. And sometimes people will pop in, but since I'm just getting started, like no one's really doing it yet. But I kind of got this idea because I was asked to come on an interview like Wednesday or something, last Wednesday. And so I'm just like, I don't really know what I'm doing, or like, these around, whatever. So, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just talking to these people, and I kind of know the one, but I don't know this other guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And turns out this other guy has like 30,000 YouTube subscribers. And I'm like on his channel, and we're just kind of talking shit or whatever. And he's on TikTok, and so he like encourages me. I think we just connected on TikTok too, right? Perhaps.
I don't have TikTok.
Is it Instagram?
Okay.
Might have been Instagram.
Okay, maybe it was Instagram, because I'm starting to get more active on like all these platforms and stuff. And were you just pointing out something? Oh, the cat. Yeah. So anyways, I'm like doing all this. I'm trying to be like Mr. Content creator guy.
We were just talking about this.
And
it's a whole world, isn't it?
Oh man, it's super weird. And because there's a lot of different platforms and a lot of different things you can do. And
it constantly changes.
Yeah, right. And so now I feel like I'm behind the times, because I'm like learning how to effectively, or try to at least effectively, utilize like hashtags and like
We're behind too.
you know,
It's like,
it's just
nobody keeps up with it.
'cause
Like, no matter
before-
what age, you know?
before hashtags were like stupid and they weren't a thing, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it was like, no, now I think they are a thing again.
Oh yeah.
So
It's like connect.
I'm
Yeah.
I don't know. So I got a lot to learn, and you guys are witnessing it all, man. You know, like this is cool. Like this is a big fat order.
Yeah.
I
Real
don't.
quick, did
Oh,
Maurice
yeah.
have 3 or 4 boxes? Because in the text he said he had 4.
I'm pretty sure it's these 3.
Okay.
Yeah, but if we want, because we can take a look at the actual message that I got from Dad.
Sure.
Because if you guys came all the way out here,
Not that far.
I know, but it would kind of suck to. Okay, wait, that's
Maurice is gonna be like, "Where's my case?"
okay. So here's the message I got from Dad. You can just like check it out.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I packed it up.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I don't know. He didn't tell us what he ordered. He just said 4 cases.
Okay.
They're
12 jars
the
per
receiving
case.
contractors.
Maybe he changed his mind because then he got a text and said, "This was the other text." Let's see.
Yeah, because you guys were connecting with Dad too.
No. Maurice sent us a screenshot.
Oh yeah, that's
Of a text.
that's basically the other message that Dad just sent me.
Okay, cool.
He just
So
copy
we're good.
pasted that to me. So I was like, oh, I don't think we need to worry about payment or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because like I said, it's that same thing is in there, but along with everything else from like Yellow House cheese, and like we're also starting to. I think we got approved to be vendors in
Yeah.
Meijer supermarkets.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why I'm kind
Oh
of
my
like.
gosh.
I'm kind of like in here, I'm creating this content, I'm like live streaming shit. Cause somebody said, yeah, dude, do that because they literally see everything that's going on. Like they see
do.
you putting it in a jar. They see you chopping the onions or whatever. Like, you know, they see, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, that's cool. It's not assembly line stuff. It's like,
Right.
this is
This is
me
the person that's packaging your food.
and you know, it's probably not always going to be this way, but maybe to get started, like that would be a cool thing for people to see.
You just gotta start somewhere.
And but yeah, I don't know. I guess we're rolling through trying to figure out like cost sheets and stuff with Meijer, and then it's the location is going to be the one over by the Cleveland Clinic on like East 105th and Cedar or something.
So in Cleveland.
Yeah, so like, but what's cool is it's not even built yet. They're building it now. So there's that, and then maybe 190. Yeah, I want to say that's about right. It's almost 200, 190 apartment units, like right in that complex where that grocery store is going to be the center. And that's right around like the Cleveland Clinic and kind of like, there's not a whole lot going on there. So I'm pretty stoked. Like,
Yeah.
that'll be our first like
That's
gateway into the little supermarket deal. So
That's amazing.
it's a little intimidating, but
Yeah.
but
Will you guys have to like boost how much you produce? Like increase the production?
I'm not real sure.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it now. Like normally we're scaling down, but I'm like, no, I'm trying to see. I'm like, because if we just start getting bombarded with orders in January, I'd like to be able to at least like meet some of it, you know. But I don't know.
People are definitely gonna be like,
I'll catch you later, Kitty.
so it's definitely gonna.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But anyways, it was good seeing you guys again.
You too.
About be it briefly.
Yeah.
And yeah, when are you guys connecting with Maurice?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right. Well, awesome. Tell him I said hello. I don't expect him to swing by here or something.
I think their schedule's pretty full.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I presume it
There's
generally
squeeze-
is every time everywhere he
Yeah,
goes.
we try to squeeze in like everybody.
Yeah. How long is he up here for?
think just until the weekend.
Okay.
I don't know.
Not through the weekend.
Does he come up frequently in these little jaunts or what?
He said
know.
during warm seasons.
Yeah, he's like, I don't come when it snows. He said
this'll
this
be
is
his
the
Yeah,
latest.
forget that.
He's like, this is the latest I would ever come to Ohio.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, we're done until springtime.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a sort of like a snowbird, but
Yeah.
not really. Well, all right, guys.
And
I'll
see
get
the
back
cat.
to it.
Yeah.
Everything looks so different.
I know.
Familiar.
Oh, man.
The
It's
landscape has changed.
it's oh yeah, man. I mean the neighbors, that's changed up front.
Oh, yeah,
Like
you were
I'm
saying that.
I'm lucky I did a little like walking farm tour. Speaking of content creation, like right before, well, at least right before these neighbors did all their stuff, because that barn was built in like a couple of days, and I was like, oh crap, I need to make that video.
Did y'all launch the Airbnb experience?
Like it's basically all. Well, so here's the thing that I think I don't know if I did, and I need to just like sit down and spend an afternoon. Like I did everything. I got all the pictures, uploaded, and but what I did was I like created an account, like an Airbnb account for like York Meadow Farm.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went through all the approval process and did all the shit. And okay, so like I guess I'm good to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, but we're not hosting like overnight things. This may just be me as a dude hosting experiences, which if that's the case, then I likely should have set all this crap up through my personal account, my personal Airbnb account, which dates back to like 2017, and I already have a number of personal, not many, but some reviews in place from just like stays, and I believe this is what I need to like dive into. I believe I need to, or maybe it would behoove me to like do that,
Right.
and then like capitalize on that foundation that's built instead of starting from scratch with this farm thing. Because and I didn't put all this together until the very end, because when you look at the person who, or the because it's usually a person that's providing the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at the person and it's like first name York Meadow, last name Farm, and I'm like, this is like this isn't right. It should be like me, just with my typical like social media profile picture that's on every single other social media. And I was like, I think I did this backwards. So
Mm-hmm.
so the answer in a long-winded way is no.
That's cool.
That's good to know for us. Yeah, Airbnb is kind of like social media, but like
And that's a thing that's changed too.
It was not like that.
No, this whole thing with experiences and like a number of, wow, I'm kidding, I'm gonna step on you. That's kind of new, but yeah. So yeah, lessons learned. If you guys are like kind of have different things going, that's one that you want to like do under your personal thing.
Thank you.
Because I guess you can ultimately have institutions, organizations, you know, whatever, nonprofits, whatever the case may be, churches, I don't know, volunteer organizations, like doing Airbnb stuff, but not experiences.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
anywho.
y'all need people to give you reviews.
Yeah, I definitely haven't like forgotten about it, and I'm definitely gonna hit you guys up, because you know, especially when the offer's there again, like, yeah, because that's how this stuff is gonna work. You know, that's all reviews and word of mouth, and then all of a sudden,
Walk around, eat kraut.
well, I thought of another thing too regarding these experiences. It's like, I got to do a little bit of work and stuff, but like wintertime tree tours with no leaves.
Yeah.
Like I know what everything is.
Really?
Do you do a lot of foraging?
I haven't this year, but I have. I'm not like Mr. Super Forager dude. But like
I was gonna say, like, for me, I would love to learn about just how to identify different things, even
Yeah.
identifying trees.
Strangely, this isn't like the super optimal property. There's some mushrooms. There's like no rams, except I have moved some in here, like trying to like establish them. But yeah, like we could go around and look at every single tree, and I could like tell you what it is, and we could look at how to figure out how it's different from other ones just by its bark, its branches, its buds, like little stem colors, and it's just shit that like I know from like 20 years of walking around in the woods, and like, and like learning about these experiences, I was like, no, man, maybe that's a thing. There's all sorts of things, you know. And you guys are kind of like nodding, saying like, yeah, that's So, and even if it's not here, you know, like paths at public parks and stuff like that is a thing that people are doing too. Like, you know, yeah, just a public trail. I don't know, maybe, you know, if maybe for someone like me that doesn't have like, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff to look at, but like not necessarily a trail through the woods, you know, yet. But with that new neighbor, I think we're going to work on a lot of trails because he's got a lot of equipment that we're going to do some land clearing with. Not like we're going to clear out large tracts, but just like swaths that you could like walk and push a stroller down. Yeah, you know, so really, really, really excited about this new neighbor who's just got that trailer up there and, you know, that big semi trailer and whatever. He's a real nice guy. And, yeah, everything is exciting.
It is
exciting.
Yeah.
I'm inspired just by listening. Okay.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
We will.
We won't keep you. I know you got your
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go do this thing, and yeah, man. So come on back when we start doing stuff, and then I don't know, yeah, fermenting workshops, all the things.
Okay.
The thing is, it's just a matter of like doing it, you know. So maybe just talking to you guys incentivized me a little bit more to like get on the horn with this Airbnb thing, because I already know how to do it. It's just a matter of sitting down and like doing it. It probably wouldn't even take me an afternoon. It'd probably take me like 2 hours to redo it again from scratch. Psh. Watch it, Missy. Hey, see you guys. Drive safe. Okay, let's see if we are still connected to the phone. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. If I am still connected, I'll be darned. I really want to know if we are connected. So I'm going to jump on the horn here and message. Funny thing just happened on live stream. Customers came to pick up, walk to car, not sure if Mike is connected, want to help test. Okay, guys, this is what we are experiencing with live streaming on the fly. And this is part of the reason why I am doing this through the podcast platform instead of doing this on the actual farm channel, right? So I just punched in a message, and I think some chatter might be going on. Somebody may be tuning in. I'm not really sure. But who knows, guys? At any rate, I've got to get back to work. As far as I can tell, this thing looks to be like it's recording. So we're just going to roll with it. The camera is, we're still streaming on StreamYard, and, you know, I don't know. It's super awkward because I had to cut the conversation short with Jairus and, oh cripes, I'm drawing a blank on her name. Talia, or, oh geez. Anyways, well, for those of you who are watching, they came in, he waved, you know, it's funny because, it's not funny because we know them through Maurice Small. And for those of you who don't know who Maurice Small is, I would encourage you to learn about him. You can learn about Maurice at mauricesmall.com. And Maurice is a guy who currently lives in Atlanta, but he's got strong Cleveland roots. And he not only has strong Cleveland roots, but he's done an incredible amount of work in the area. And it looks like someone just popped in, so welcome. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to have both chats up here to the best of my ability and see if I can, you know, monitor two things at once while live streaming. So really monitoring three things at once, which, boy, is just kind of silly, but hey, doing what we can, right? Anywho, speaking of Maurice, I think Maurice is just like I'm hesitating because there's not a lot that I can think of. The man lives. He's kind of inspiring. I mean, I knew of him right up until recently, but it wasn't until he came over with his two interns, who you just met, and his mom, and it was right around the same time. They didn't come over for my mom's 70th birthday, but they came over around that same time for a visit. And we got to, bear with me here as I'm trying to pour this. I got to meet him and talk with him and learn more about him and what he's doing. And, you know, he shared some insight and a lot of suggestions and good ideas on things that we can do to, you know, grow the business here, grow what we're doing on the farm. In addition to, you know, fermented foods and soaps and market and online sales, you know, that those are all good things. But when you're in a position trying to make a living from a homestead, you've got to think outside of the box if you want to experience real success, right? And real success isn't simply about making money. You got to make some money in order to pay the bills, right? We all need to, like, everything requires something. Even going to the farmer's market requires, you know, fees on a weekly basis because the farmer's market itself has bills to pay. Generally, market managers get some sort of not necessarily a salary, but some sort of something for the work that they do, right? So where am I going with this? What the hell am I talking about here? Okay, what I'm talking about is Airbnb experiences. And I didn't even expect or think to go into this today because we are talking about Curtido and fermented foods. But since we just got to meet Jairus and Maya, I thought I was really just going to space on her name. You know, I didn't want to just bypass them, but I also didn't want to put them on the spot because I didn't tell them that I was going to be live streaming. And so I came in and it was, I'm sure it was awkward. So guys, if you're watching this down the road, or at some point in the future, or heck, even right now, it's plausible that you could be. We have connected on Instagram, and you know, we were talking about some other social medias which they aren't really active users of, but we were talking a lot about content creation. And, you know, I don't want to get too far off track of what I was originally talking about here, because what I was and what I am talking about here is the Airbnb experience, right? And that is an idea that was introduced to me by Maurice, who is the individual that is boy, I don't really know what you would call it. Well, what is the mentor, if you will, of Maya and Jairus? You know, if you have someone that you take on as a an apprentice, I guess you are their mentor if you have someone under you as an apprentice. Excuse me. I spent so much time out there yammering away with them, thinking about this live stream and thinking about the fact that, you know, I needed to get in here and like get back to this, but at the same time wanted to take advantage of the time with them because, you know, guys, time with people, time is valuable, and relationships are priceless. And you know, I like to think that even things like that, like this way of thinking, I'd like to think that even that factors in to the food that we make and the products that we create. That it adds a certain level of quality. You know, generally speaking, we're always listening to music as well. But that looks like the connection disappeared, but for some reason the microphone connectivity did not, or if it did, it automatically reconnected when I came back into range, which, if that's the case, either way, for the Bluetooth microphone that I'm using, which I'll go ahead and link to after the fact in the description, because I don't have the box out here and I can't quite remember what this is. It is. It says on the unit there, and it's also attached to my back pocket. But I'm here, and I'm kind of in the middle of this, and this has already been interrupted in the most magnificent and beautiful way with a quick visit with Maya and Jairus. Again, guys, if you are watching, I apologize for, trying to squeeze this in. This is an example of me trying to do as much as possible in as little amount of time as possible. And what I mean by that is one of the things that we talked about, Jairus, Maya, and myself, out there was we were talking about content creation. Oh, itchy nose. And all of the different platforms. And that was actually something that they were talking about too recently. And the fact that, yes, there are all of these different platforms. And and this is the nature of content creation. This is also something that we were talking about in the Telegram group. And for those out there who don't know what I'm talking about with the Telegram group, is those of you who are watching this video on one of two channels. Chances are I probably won't upload this video to the York Meadow Farm channel because of the the interruption. Not that, but I'm So I'll keep this one kind of as a Be Real live video with the and speaking of Be Reals, I've got a really itchy nose. I'm going to put some music back on and kind of get back to doing things like we normally do here. So bear with me for one more interruption, because we might as well just go with several interruptions, right? Okay, guys. We're going to have another sip of water, one full face scratch, and get fully prepared before I glove up and continue the process of packing Curtido here. It's been an interesting day, to say the least. An exciting day, and one that I'm very grateful for. So for those out there watching, we'll have some music in the background. We've had some people dip in and out, and that's understandable because this live stream is leaving something to be desired, as is the quality of the chewing gum that I'm opening up here. It's old, sticky, and kind of gross. Well, anyways, guys. Still curious on audio quality. If you're in there, drop a comment. Hey, hello from Freesetting. Awesome. Wonderful to see you out there. And while I'm getting ready to talk about Curtido and continue the process of packing here, I might as well talk about freesteading. I talked about Maya and Jairus, who were here before. Talked about Maurice Small. and the whole connection with them. Check out Maurice online and learn more about everything that he does. And as far as free setting is concerned, shout out to Life Done Free for tuning in. Many thanks for checking out what's going on here in the kitchen from that platform. We were just talking about, as a matter of fact, platforms, all the various platforms to keep up with. And Freesteading is one of the new platforms that I am trying to keep up with, because it really seems to be, and I've only been there for a few days, but it seems to be a platform with functionality very similar to many other social media platforms. Of course, the one that everybody kind of de facto says, it's like Facebook. All right, well, let's just not talk Facebook now. All right, so what other social media platforms are there? Okay, there's Twitter, right? And there's Minds, which is very similar to Twitter. And then we've got Gab, which is kind of similar to Facebook in terms of operation. And then there's Instagram, which is kind of its own separate thing. And then there's newer social medias like TikTok. And then there's also other social medias that I participate in that are kind of like private networks. For example, the 48 Days Eagles community, which I'll go ahead and link to in the show notes as well, if I can remember to after the fact, since we had since there's been such a lot going on here. But 48 Days, the 48 Days Eagles community is not unique in the fact that it operates on a social media platform called Mighty Networks. And Mighty Networks is pretty cool because it is kind of a social media platform that's designed for, private users, just like that pay a subscription to use the platform. Now, this is a long-winded way of talking about freesteading. And I learned of freesteading through individuals in the homesteading and prepping network, specifically Nicole Sauce from Living Free in Tennessee. She's been talking about it a lot lately. I believe the few that I've connected with recently are Letty Lou, who's active in so many social communities, so many social networks and different communities online, and as a content creator in her own right at the Liberty All Day blog. So check out Letty Lou and all the work that she does at the Liberty All Day blog. And she's also on freesteading. My man Yosik is also on freesteading. I believe he just signed up recently. He is local to Northeast Ohio, has been a big supporter of everything that we're doing here on the homestead, big supporter of fermented foods, making trips out to farmers markets and connecting with me personally and my family. And that's been really cool. I've been able to meet not only him, but his girlfriend and learn about him, his life, his journey, and that's a big part of what we're doing here. This is all right, we're here in the commercial kitchen packing and talking about Curtido, but at the same time there's so much more that we can talk about other than this El Salvadorian fermented side dish that consists of cabbage, onions, carrots, and spices, usually some iteration, including oregano and garlic. You know, this is a very regional ferment, much like kimchi is kind of regional to Korea. People associate kimchi with Korea. I often, for people that have a hard time understanding the regionality of ferments, but can grasp the idea of kimchi coming from Korea, I like to say that this is the kimchi of El Salvador, right? So, anyways, my buddy Yosik's been a big supporter of us coming out to market, and as a matter of fact, you know, when he came to the Tremont market, you know, he actually, we were hustling product and things were moving so well that he actually went to work, you know, restocking the product on the tables, helping make change for people, you know, running down people as they left when I forgot to give them change. Just a super guy. And, you know, I'm going on and on and on about him because, you know, this is the result of what happens when you participate in these communities like freesteading. And granted, I'm new, but at the same time, I may be new there, but I'm sitting here and I'm connecting with you, right? Life Done Free, and that's really cool. This is what happens when we get onto these new platforms and start supporting people who have, you know, dare I say, the right idea. You know, it's like, by no means would I consider myself some sort of extremist in any kind of viewpoints that I have. But at the same time, I think there are certain segments of the population that would consider the viewpoints that I have, and most likely the viewpoints that you have, and the viewpoints that you have to be, dare I say, extreme. So here we are, you know, in an effort to connect with, I don't know, people that are normal, people that are doing something like us. And even if it's not people that are doing something like us, like it's people who are like us, because homesteading is a mentality. You know, anybody who's watching here on the live stream, and this is being streamed to 3 different places right now. We are actively streaming on YouTube. We are actively streaming on Twitter. Shout out to everyone on Twitter. And I quite frankly forgot where I set the other live stream up to. I think I set it up to go to Float or Telegram. Either way, I honestly don't remember. But the way StreamYard works is that I can see comments from people who are commenting on YouTube. I can see comments that come in from other platforms, but it just says something along the lines of Facebook user or something like that. So, you know, again, shout out to Life Done Free on YouTube. Anyone that chimes in and participates in these videos, I would really go encourage you to check out the content that they create. You know, that's one of the things that it goes, at least for me personally, I can't speak for everyone, but a big part of exploring new platforms is trying to reach new people as a content creator. And being a content creator, for me, it's not something that's new. I've been creating content since I was a child, as a teenager, actively making things that, deliverables for people in addition to that, which I just enjoyed doing for myself. But I've been doing that for a very long time. Now, with this particular, project, the all-around growth project, the YouTube channel is relatively new, right? But the podcast itself has been going on for 2 years. We have over 450 episodes at this point, and we are just now starting to stream live on a somewhat regular basis. And as far as I can tell, that's going to continue, because it's quite easy to download audio tracks and extract them from StreamYard. And again, for those of you who didn't tune in at the very beginning and then, watch the 20 minutes or however long of the delay while I took 3 cases of sauerkraut out and caught up with Maya and Jairus. For those of you who missed that little beginning introduction part, a big part of why we are able to do what we are able to do with regard to streaming is because of the community that has been established around the All Around Growth podcast. A big part of that community, where it is active quite frequently and active the most engaged with the most people, is on Telegram at t.me/allaroundgrowth. You can see the banner on the bottom of the screen. And when you participate in the Telegram group, you are eligible for like the fattest of fat discounts. Now, if you just listen to the podcast, you are eligible for discounts. And I have mentioned some in some other episodes before, but because I have confidence in what and how I have confidence in what I'm doing with regard to this content, and I'm confident about the potential where it goes. What I don't want to do, even in these B-reel videos that have, like I said, the most beautiful of interruptions in them, what I don't want to do is start rattling off discount codes, because we have several active at this time that are applicable to different communities, right? All right. So for example, if you hang out in the All Around Growth Telegram group, and moreover, like I said, if you listen to the podcast, you are already aware of the discounts that you get. And with all of the discounts that are applicable across the board to email subscribers, to other communities that I'm involved in, like the 48 Days Eagles, I want to make it very clear that the supporters of this show get the best discounts that we offer at this time. The discounts, quite frankly, that we're offering, I'd have to actually crunch the numbers and do the math, but it basically puts the listener base getting wholesale cost, right? And I don't know how long we're going to be able to continue doing that. And we're not going to be able to do that across the board all the time, because this is going to grow. The audience is going to grow. There's already been, on TikTok, I don't know what average growth is, but the couple things that I've done on TikTok have seemed to be quite popular. And most of it is just me reading some and sharing some content that has been of great benefit to me. So, but nevertheless, where I'm going with this is the fact that all around growth subscribers, podcast subscribers and listeners get the best discounts. Get the best discounts around. Speaking of wholesale, there's been a lot of chatter lately on the podcast about where we've been, where we're going. And we do, and when I say a lot lately, a lot of this comes up in the weekly market recap, which generally takes place every Monday. We did one yesterday. And that may be, the market recaps are going to be a little bit different moving forward, because at this time, November 1st, 2022, we are not active in any farmers markets. We are in multiple retail locations where you can find us at yorkmeadowfarm.com/retail. But right now, we are not currently at any farmers markets. I did stop by a potential winter market location today to try and speak with the manager personally, but it turns out that I missed him. But I was able to engage in a good conversation and have good dialogue with a gentleman there named Jim, who I believe was, well, he sure appeared to be a manager. So maybe the individual that I'm talking to is like the head manager, and I don't know titles and hierarchy, right? Let's not even go there. But nevertheless, I left him my card. We talked a little bit about what we do and the fact that we thought we'd be a great fit at the market and draw in a lot of customers. And that's partly why they host the market, so they can bring in customers during a slow season for them. And this would be a winter market, January, February, early March. And, we are hopeful. Initially I was a little bit bummed out. I thought maybe I dropped the ball, wasn't really sure. But, I'm not sweating it too much, because if that doesn't work out, we've got other irons in the fire. Even though we have no more farmers markets going on, it's Tuesday afternoon here, and I'm packing kraut because, surprisingly, we only have 2 jars of this stuff available right now. This has been a hot commodity. People really like the Curtido. This is the Kraut Guy's favorite. And for those of you, who may just be tuning in now, just coming around, catching this part of the video, Curtido is a traditional Latin American side dish, oftentimes associated with El Salvador. It is a fermented side dish consisting largely of cabbage with onions and carrots and spices, usually consisting of oregano and garlic and various other things. In our Curtido, we have cabbage, onions, carrots, garlic, red pepper flakes, oregano, and cumin. And over the years, we have, honed this recipe and dialed in the blends of the spices that we use to make it just right. And Dad really loves this stuff with ferments. All right, he really loves this stuff with ferments. He really loves this stuff with bratwurst. And I think that Curtido goes well with any kind of sausage, any kind of anything really whatsoever. When I say anything, I mean a savory meat like a bratwurst, or like a sausage, or really any kind of pork, or even other kinds of sausages for that matter. It doesn't necessarily have to be pork. We have other krauts that I think pair nicely with other types of meat, but with pork especially, and all types of pork products and products that contain pork. I think this Curtido is an excellent pairing option. We are about more than halfway through, just a little over halfway through with what we're packing. It's been nice to see a little bit of engagement, and again, as we continue to make more videos and continue to be more consistent with the content that we produce, we will continue to gain more traction. And as the quality of the videos gets better, and I figure out what is going on here with the action cam, and I get all of my mics and all this figured out. And basically, when the quality is there, I will go ahead and also upload these videos to the York Meadow Farm YouTube channel. And that's right. This is the show. Over time, you'll see that this isn't the cooking channel, right? There's been 450 episodes of podcasts that date back to 2020. And over the years, what we've talked about is, well, initially everything was scattered. And so for those who have listened to the show from the very beginning, or for those who, are interested in kind of watching someone's journey as they produce content, a base of content over time, this is, I've done this in a way where you can do that. Because when I first started this, I wasn't really happy. A lot of people weren't happy. We were in the midst of COVID. A lot of people were stressed out with their lives, their jobs, their families, all sorts of things. And I just happened to be one of them. And over time, the podcast really reflects my state of mind and where I was at, and ultimately ended up with me resigning from my day job and participating in the Great Resignation on my own terms in May of this year, coming on to the farm full time in June of this year, just 5 months ago, basically 5 months ago today. Is that right? It would be June, July, August, September, and October. Yeah. So 5 months ago today, I began working full time York Meadow Farm. Now I've always been working here in some way, shape, or form, but it wasn't really until June where I was putting in, at a minimum, 40 hours a week and making all this work, growing the business. And over time, as far as growing the business is concerned, we have, in this space at least, we have quadrupled production of our fermented foods. And moreover, we haven't just quadrupled production for the sake of making more stuff. We've been making more stuff because we've been selling more stuff. And for example, we have another 60 pounds of Curtido, at least 60 pounds of Curtido actively fermenting, but that's not enough. I'm going to make another batch this week, because this batch that I'm packing right now, I'm packing because we only have 2 jars left. And this is fermented long enough, but that's something that I didn't talk about, because a lot of times people will ask us at market, how long does this stuff ferment? And ultimately, the question is, it depends. But in this case, this was a batch that was started on September 28th. And with it being November 1st, it has been fermenting for 33 days. And I mean, that's long enough. It's just fine. In my opinion, I think ferments get better with time. And this is no exception. We have, just for the sake of conversation and curiosity, in our logbook, which dates back to, this year, we have let Curtido go for as long as 52 days, and we have let it go for as little as 21 days. So, at 33 days, based on all of the numbers and all of the time, that's really just about average, and maybe a little on the low side, because like I said, I like to let things go longer, and that's why even with things being the way they are now, slow, I'm still trying to keep up with production to stay ahead of the curve when we do begin to experience an increased volume of sales with not only the winter markets, but our presence at new markets. And you can find out more about the new markets and everything that's going on by signing up for the newsletter over at yorkmeadowfarm.com. That's an awesome way to, stay in touch with everything that's going on here behind the scenes. Yes, when you listen to the All Around Growth podcast, you hear a lot of stuff about, the farm, but there's also a lot of stuff about a lot of other things as well. One of the things that I'm going to start getting into and talking more about lately, or shortly, that is setting goals. We're gonna revisit some goal setting and we're going to talk more about that and revisit some episodes that I did last year on this. We're going to talk about why I'm going to revisit goals in the same way, setting goals at least. Whether or not I break down the series in a similar manner remains to be seen. I think that I will likely not do the same thing that I did last year, because what I did last year was a good exercise for me in order to ensure that I actually got the work done that I wanted to get done with the setting of the goals, right? So, in large part, it's kind of wild to think about that it's November already, and you know, I'm more set on goals. I don't like New Year's resolutions. I like to look the new approach that I'm taking with regard to setting of goals we look at our life through a 3-year lens, and then we set goals based on 7 different aspects of our life. Okay, and that's physical. Well, physical is certainly one of them, but in this order, more specifically, we set goals and approach goal setting with financial goals, physical goals, personal development goals, family goals, spiritual goals, social goals, and career goals. Why do we start with financial? Because oftentimes those are the most tangible and easily, the ones we're most easily able to put metrics to, you know, because more often than not, if we're in debt, we know, oh boy, my credit card has $10,000 on it. Or, oh boy, I owe the dentist $1,500. Or, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. But what am I talking about? I just lost my train of thought. Boy, that's good. I don't know. We were talking about new stores and new markets and things like that, and trying to keep up with production and so on and so forth. Confidence and all these things. Who knows? If anybody's out there, feel free to drop a comment, say hi, chime in, let me know where you are tuning in from. That was one thing that I didn't ask. Life Done Free. I didn't ask Life Done Free where they were commenting from and where their homestead was or is. But in talking about this, one of the things that I've talked about a lot of things today. I understand I get sidetracked a lot. This is kind of how things go out here in the kitchen when you're just doing these monotonous tasks of packing kraut, right? So, but one of the things that I was talking about was the idea of, oh, Jesus Christ, I can't believe I lost my train of thought again. You know, content creation, but also, yes, homesteading, and the fact that it's a state of mind. And that I did an episode on this just recently. That, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the very first attempts at live streaming that I did. And, or at the very least, it was a recording that I did with some new gear that I got to facilitate in part what you're seeing right now. Right? Okay, very good. That's what we got to do. So we've talked about this setup before and what we are using and all of the equipment. And if you want to know, there's a couple ways that you can do that. One, first and foremost, is drop a comment down in the comments section of this video and let me know what your question is, and I'll absolutely make a point to answer it to the best of my ability. And you know what? You know what's beautiful is I admit my ignorance to a lot of things, but what I very much enjoy doing is helping people. And if I don't know something and you come to me with a question because maybe you think I might, well, I might not have the answer for you. But chances are I can help you figure out how to find an even better answer if you're not satisfied with the one I have. I got into a conversation the other day with someone about sharing recipes, right? And some people like that were new to let's use fermenting as an example. Some people that are new and trying to replicate something. For example, replicate a process just like this. Who knows? Maybe there's a lot. Well, anyways, and somebody says, "Hey, what's your recipe?" A lot of people, apparently, like, I don't think I want to give someone the exact recipe that's going to result in this, but I'll tell someone, okay, if you wanted to try and replicate this and you had 5 pounds of cabbage, because not everybody's going to be working with the volume that we are, but I would say, here's your ratios of what you would do, comparatively, and here's the basic process that you would use to outline. And we're going to actually start hosting some fermenting classes here, because a lot of people that buy our products buy them because they've tried to experiment themselves and maybe haven't had the greatest level of success, or they're just interested in learning how to do it in the first place if they've never done it. And I've been making ferments like this. I think the first one I did was probably in my early 20s, but I fermented far more beverages, kombuchas, kvases, Rejuvelac, was all into stuff like that, and less so foods, and then took a big break, a step away from everything when I went down the corporate path, only to revisit this a lot deeper when I went through some health challenges of my own and finally decided that I wanted to help mom and dad grow a family business that eventually resulted in this. But yeah, a lot of people seem to get weird about sharing recipes, sharing information, and That's just not like that's just not what I'm accustomed to. I've spent the last, well over a decade working hard jobs to get, to where, and long hours so that I could get to where I am now. And most of that time was spent listening to podcasts to inspire me, to motivate me, to help me find something that I couldn't oftentimes find within myself somewhere to keep me going one more day when times got tough, or even if they don't. You see, and so when it comes to content creation, like a podcast per se, my idea was to simply give back what was so freely given to me in the form of podcasts. All of the podcasts that historically I've listened to did not have advertisements, and this is a game that's changing. You can now, it's commonplace and encouraged by a lot of people to insert mid-roll ads in your podcast so that you can monetize your podcast. And initially, I thought, yeah, I'll do that. It's effectively like YouTube. I watch YouTube videos that are if it's monetized content, I watch the advertisements. I get it. I'm willing to put up for it because I'm not willing to pay for YouTube Premium or whatever, Plus or whatever it's called at this point in time. So it's just what I do. But then after listening to some of my own shows with the advertisements, I thought, no way, man. I'm not interested in doing this. I'm just not interested in doing it. So I removed the advertisements. Now, YouTube would be a different thing because once I get to the point, then sure, yeah, I'd love to monetize the YouTube channel, right? I mean, who wouldn't? But as far as the podcast goes, I don't want mid-roll advertisements in my podcast. That's not why I listen to I first started listening to podcasts over 10 years ago to get away from what I was hearing and everything that I was seeing on, well, not seeing, but everything that I was hearing on AM radio. Everything was an echo chamber, all talk radio, sports, news, politics, fear, wash, rinse, repeat. So back in, 2009, 2000, it was a long time ago, guys. 2008, maybe. I first started listening to the Dave Ramsey podcast, the Dave Ramsey show in podcast form, because I learned about podcasts as a way to listen to my favorite shows when they weren't live and without the ads, right? So I decided that I was going to make a dive into the world of podcasts, and that's where I initially first began listening to podcasts was with the Dave Ramsey show, and then eventually I listened to a couple other podcasts, and shortly thereafter found the Survival podcast hosted by Jack Spirko. And, he's still creating content actively today with well over 3,000 episodes and a wealth of content on his website, thesurvivalpodcast.com. So, he's definitely an inspiration and a mentor for someone like myself. And it's kind of in that vein that I've chosen to not include advertisements, because what he does to monetize his show is he has an audience subscription type of operation where you become an annual subscriber to gain access to exclusive membership perks, including discounts to show supporters and sponsors that are actually quite significant. For example, this all-around growth discount that would give you 25% if I were to ever start collaborating with Jack, or maybe a better thing to say is when I start collaborating with Jack, maybe that'll be a while, but when I start collaborating with other people who from that community who are creating content, like, for example, Nicole Sauce and Brian Norton, Ken Esch, guys like that. It'll be nice to, Brian Alexovich with the Lots Project, Josh, Renegade Butcher, these guys who I've been collaborating with a lot recently. It'll be nice to start working with them to grow the businesses and follow that same type of business model. Because as far as I'm concerned, that is a business model that is effective and works. Now, at this point in time, we've got just a couple listeners. Hey, Northeast Kansas. All right. Coming in hot from Northeast Kansas. That's awesome to see. I'm really grateful that you tuned in today. Grateful to be connecting through this platform free setting. And for those of you who don't know, I would definitely encourage you to check it out. A few people who have not, or who were not previously on there from the audience, have since joined. And again, like I said, I learned about it from Letty Lou. I did learn about it. Letty Lou talked about it a lot, but I think I first heard about it and some chatter going around it via Nicole Sauce's channel, Living Free in Tennessee, and the community that has spawned around all the work that she's done over the years. And I'm drawing a blank on, is it Life Done Free? Yeah, Life Done Free. If you are an active content consumer like myself, and you're not familiar with what Nicole's doing, Living Free in Tennessee, then make sure to check out her work. She actually just posted some new videos recently from a workshop that she hosted on a food forest installation. And just for some additional context, she's also heavily involved in the Self-Reliance Festival, which took place at Camden, Tennessee. And she's just she's a hustler. She is a real go-getter, and she's into a lot of different things. She puts out a lot of content, and it's inspirational. I, over the years, have talked about initially, hey, providing tools and resources to build the life and homestead of your dream. And then, hey, we're going to do this through setting goals in these 7 different aspects of life. And now, to dovetail really specifically the podcast with the family business, it is and has become a show where you join me with my family. on our small farm as Homestead, as we grow all around, growing all these various businesses that we're involved in. And I say various businesses because right now, this is York Meadow Farm. This is Sauerkraut by York Meadow Farm. But in time, this is going to be something different, right? This is going to be a different product. The product is still going to be the same, of course, but it's going to be a different brand name. And we're bouncing around a couple different ideas. And if you guys over time have comments, suggestions, ideas on what some brand names might be for a line of fermented foods, including, Curtido, of course, but we also make a traditional sauerkraut, a caraway kraut, a beet kraut, a lemon dill kraut, a jalapeno cilantro kraut. We make a kimchi. We make a chimichurri. And we make a fermented whole grain mustard. That about rounds out what we do here. And we also, at least in the kitchen, okay, now we also make bath and body products. Soaps, bar soaps, liquid soaps, hand creams, bath bombs, shower fizzies, all natural bath and body products, clean with pure essential oils only, no fragrance oils, colored only with botanicals and clays. The best of the best. Our products have a natural look because that's exactly what they are, natural. However, when you start poking around York Meadow Farm, people that are looking for bath and body products get confused because they also see sauerkraut. People that are looking for sauerkraut oftentimes get confused because they see bath and body products. So Mom's had an idea recently to rebrand the bath and body products that she's doing as, Acme Artisan Soap Company, for example. We're obviously not going to use the name Acme, but that's kind of the idea that we'll have. And, what we're doing out here with these fermented goodies is we will be calling these something else. Perhaps natural ferments, perhaps the Kraut Guys, plural. We're not really sure, but the whole idea of what we would be doing is having all these various operations act as spokes of the York Meadow Farm hub, one of which would include my own business, Deliberate Living Systems, which you guys can see on my hat here. This is a company that I started many years ago, chasing the permaculture homestead dream, following dreams and ideologies of other people, failing to be true to myself while going wildly into debt, preaching to everyone about sustainability and permaculture while living a life that was the complete antithesis of that. Those were years that I'm not very proud of, but years that I'm also grateful that I experienced because I learned a lot going through that and trying to be someone that I wasn't, right? And I think it's important for a lot of people to experience something like that, to have these, hard moments that really, help define or help you understand who you are, one of the things that I'm doing back here is Dad and I like to call it making water. And one of the things I will be doing later tonight is chopping a bunch of Napa cabbage to soak overnight to make kimchi in the morning. And at this point in time, I only have 5 gallons of water filtered, and I need at least double that. Over the last hour, in packing sauerkraut, I seem to have forgotten about the need to filter water. And unfortunately, this whole content creation is going to come back to bite me. Hopefully, guys, the action cam here stays live for the duration of the Curtido process, packing process that is. At this point, everything is packed. We are just bottling up some brine right now. And at this point in time, the brine isn't available online yet, but as things slow down, I'm going to have to make time to get this online, because there's definitely been some increased interest in the brine as a new product, and it kind of threw me off. Well, it kind of threw me off full stop, because for us, this brine, this is a byproduct of the fermentation process, and it is something that is, well, and has been in the past, something that we just poured down the drain. So we started taking samples of the traditional brine to the farmer's market, because I happened to see something in a store sometime, and it was fermented, the brine of fermented products. And I thought, well, let's take some up, sample it, and see if there's any interest in it. And there was. People really liked taking shots of it, you know, daring their spouses or their kids to take a shot of the Kraut Guy sauerkraut juice. And all of a sudden, people were asking us if they could buy it. And initially, we were kind of confused by that, but we said, sure, why not? And we started bottling it up and selling it in the same 16-ounce jars that we were selling our sauerkraut in. But it looked a little weird just to have this jar of juice. So what we decided to do was look around with our supplier, who we bought the 16-ounce, they're called mayonnaise jars. I don't have enough for a fourth one, so I'll just keep that for myself. And we decided to get some jars that were a little bit more appropriate for the brine. So as soon as I get caps on these things, I'll come show them off to you. Speaking of caps, I'm wondering if we got caps with the new shipment of jars and lids that we just received. I'm not sure if everything's in the same box or not. I've yet to open it up. Okay, so this is what we've got in terms of brine, guys. People seem to really like using this for marinades. People seem to like using this in conjunction with their mixed drinks, marinades, gut shots, used with oil as a vinaigrette. I don't know, but this is something that just really caught me off guard with what people are buying and what they're using it for. So if you are using this stuff, keep bringing ideas to me so I can tell other people what to do with it. Because like I said, this was a byproduct and something that I'm, really has just kind of caught me off guard when people were wanting to buy it. Yeah, cool. You're very familiar with Nicole. You spoke at the Self-Reliance Festival. No way. That's awesome. I look forward to connecting with you a little bit more on freesteading and learning more about what you do. I look forward to connecting with you more on YouTube and everywhere else. So, yeah, awesome. Thank you for tuning in today. As far as tuning in is concerned, and the packing of Curtido is concerned, that's really about it for today. I'm going to go ahead and get with Dad here, print off some labels, and we'll go ahead, label these things up, pack them in the cooler for whatever it's worth. We got 33 jars out of this batch, 33 1-pound jars. And I would just definitely encourage you to check out YorkMeadowFarm.com, and you can find out more about everything that we do there. Sign up for the newsletter. We send one out once a month, including some additional things with coupons or specials that we're offering. But up until lately, it's been once a month. The only thing we got heavy on emails about was the promotion of the online store, which we opened in September. But otherwise, that's it. Once a month emails, and you can check out allaroundgrowth.co to tune in to the podcast, and stay tuned for more updates on our website there as well. Be sure to check out the podcast for the bestest savings that you can get